Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. Alright, let's address the elephant in the room. I know it's not Halloween. Alright, that's long past. But when it came to my Halloween videos, I ran out of time and I couldn't upload everything I wanted to. So that's why I'm uploading them past Halloween. But if you stop and look at it like this, at some point in time, it's gonna be Halloween time again, October. So somebody eventually will stumble upon my videos and watch it around Halloween time. So yeah, and I'm here today to talk to you about Van Helsing Season 5, Episode 5, Sister Hunt. So a lot has changed in the Van Helsing series. From what if you've ever seen my other reviews from that of like the first season or that one episode of the fourth season. And so a lot has really changed. This episode centers around that of Violet and Ivory, who I've never mentioned before because they're new characters. Ivory shows up, I think, in the second season, and Violet either third or fourth. And Violet is the daughter of that of Van Helsing. And I remember when I first saw her and it was revealed that she's the daughter along with Jack. And I was just kind of like, huh? See, Violet is black, Jack is Hispanic, and Vanessa, the mother, is white. And I was so confused when I saw this because they don't appear to look biracial and stuff, but there's a scientific reason for that. See, when the vampires started taking over and everything, mankind realized they needed a warrior to fight them. The Van Helsing bloodline has the ability to turn vampires into humans, and they endowed with super strength in order to hunt and slay vampires. So they needed a contingency plan. So it's always been stated it must always be two. And so when Vanessa was born, apparently she had a sister, a twin sister. And she never knew about that. So there was two in that, but then they needed another contingency in case something goes wrong with either sisters. And so this is why they keep them apart and everything. So in case something happens to one, it won't happen to both. So they decided to give Vanessa kids at a very early age. For whatever reason, she had to go down under, I guess in a hospital or whatever, and they extracted two of her eggs without her knowledge. They put them in two other women, one black, one Hispanic, and fertilized them, creating Jack and Violet. Now, this is completely contradictory to their whole contingency plan, because later on in life, Vanessa did have an actual biological child of her own, Dylan and stuff. But if they really needed a contingency plan and taking the eggs from that of Vanessa, then why didn't they do the same thing to her sister Scarlett? So they kind of wrote themselves in the pickle with that. Now, why did they give Van Helsing two kids as a contingency plan, the writers? Well, it's because the lead actress herself became pregnant. And so because of that, she missed half of the fourth season and pretty much all of the fifth until she showed up until the very end. And this caused the problem with fans because they're like, yo, it's Vanessa's show. She should be the lead. Where is she at? People didn't know she was pregnant. And so the actress even said she wanted to come back as she was pregnant and be a gunslinging pregnant woman, but they would not let her. Then after she gave birth, when fans finally found out, she still didn't come back because for whatever reason, the executives didn't want her to come back. I guess maternity leave or something like that. And so they created the duo of Jack and Violet. And even though those characters are okay, and I do like them, people just didn't want them. Now, most fans didn't like those two, but I think they're okay. It's just, I just want Vanessa. And so the fourth season and the fifth season were totally different. It was more supernatural than what it was before, because in the first season it was more like The Walking Dead, and so it started changing by the third, and it just started getting so supernatural and so confusing, especially when they brought in Dracula and everything. and the darkness and all this other crap. And so it became very supernatural and very confusing by that time. And the show just wasn't all that great no more. And so the group that everybody knew and loved was like scattered. Then, they started killing off the main cast or writing off the main cast. And it was so different than what it was in the first season. And there's less blood now. Like I said before, in the first season, there is so much blood in every episode. It's probably more blood than every season of The Walking Dead combined. Like, it's that much blood. And so, like, yeah. And so Jack is sent back in time, and Vanessa is in some kind of demon reality or something like that. But when she does eventually come back, she has superpowers like telekinesis, and for whatever reason, she has blonde hair now. But on to Violet and Ivory. So Violet has all the abilities of Vanessa. She can heal really fast, she's strong, she's fast, and she can turn vampires back into humans by either biting them or letting them bite her. Ivory is a former indigenous vampire who was part of the sisterhood that got introduced in the second season. The sisterhood are basically like vampire Amazons that go around like killing people and stuff. They're an elite fighting force. And so at some point in time, I forget what season, Ivory got turned into human and decided to join the group. And so at some point she started Jack and Violet started converting her other sisters. So this is a filler episode, but it's pretty spooky and I like it. And it's the only episode in season 5 I actually like. I know that's bad to say, but whatever. It's literally the only episode I like. So the episode starts off with 5 people. Keep that in mind because people are going to start dropping like flies in this episode. And so Violet and Ivory are with 3 other like sisterhood like members and stuff. There is Zuma, there's Myra, and there is Claire. And so like we don't really know much about them, and I forgot how they even like hooked up and everything, like got together in this episode. But they're together and they're trying to like take shelter because they're separated from the rest of the group. Violet has the darkness and the amulet. The darkness is the rest of the energy essence of like Dracula. Dracula is the big bad of like the 4th and 5th season. And in the comics, Dracula is actually a dude, but they decided to gender bend her into a woman. And so this actual show is actually based on a graphic novel called Helsing and everything. And so like they have to keep the darkness away from that of Dracula and all this other crap. And so the ladies are just like, chatting it up, having a good time outside as they're camping, talking about when the last time they had a man. Because it's been centuries and stuff since they've been vampires. And I just think that's like an interesting cavalier conversation to have. Now, one good thing to say about the 5th season is the cinematography. It looks like a movie. There's like shaky cam angles. The gun slinging in this looks very militant. The fighting got so much better. The CGI got better. It's just, except for the darkness smoke, that looks terrible. But anyway, everything looks so much cooler now. I just wish the 5th season was good. And so, like, they hear like a disturbance in the woods and they realize they might be getting tracked by like vampires trying to get the amulet and everything. So they hightail it and they find like a building to stay in. And the reason why they had to hightail it is because one of them, Claire, she went off to like do when they went to go to sleep, she took like the night shift. And when they woke up, she was found dead. Hands were bloody and a knife in her hand and her heart in one hand. So Ivory, being like one of the leaders of like the sisterhood, realizes that this is the symbol or the death ritual or whatever of a certain group of vampires. So they have to really get on out of there because these group of vampires are like one of the deadliest out there. So they find refuge in like a building. And so while they're there, bad stuff, of course, starts to happen. And one of the girls named Maria. Wait, I think I'm getting the girls' names mixed up. It's either Claire or Myra. Whichever one's the main girl that's alive is her. Anyway, I think I am getting their names mixed up. Anyway, you know who exactly I'm talking to with the pictures and stuff. So anyway, it turns out that Zuma and Ivory were from like the same village, and they've been vampires for centuries. And since Ivory is indigenous, she was part of like a Native American tribe and stuff. And it turns out that like just a group of men came in looking for gold and they started killing all the people in the village and the tribe. And so like thinking they had gold. And so Ivory's dad was the first to go and the rest of their family got slaughtered. And so both Zuma and Ivory was burnt at like the stake or whatever you call it. Like some witch trials type, you know what I'm saying? And so it turned out they survived because either Myra or Claire, whichever one died with the heart in her hand, she turned them. So they asked the other girl, I'm just gonna start calling her other girl now. So they asked the other girl, like, how did what's the name turn you? And she doesn't want to talk about it. And so later on, it's revealed that other girl actually didn't get bit by the other vampire lady. She got bit by Ivory, but Ivory doesn't remember because it's been so many years and it's been like, the demon took over. But it turns out Ivory went into that girl's village, slaughtered her parents, and then turned her. And so, like, Ivory just doesn't remember, but now because of this, she eases up on the other girl. And so, like, we get like a heart to heart from that of Ivory at one point because, like, when all the craziness in the episode starts happening later on, Ivory reveals to Violet in a crying manner that, she hates the stuff she did in the past. Like, she did a lot of bad stuff and she's been killing for centuries. And she remembers her mother and how she wanted to give her mother grandkids and how that never happened and everything. And, it's a nice heart to heart and it's a nice backstory we get from Ivory because here's a character we've known since season 2. But since season 2, she's been part of like the sisterhood and was a vampire. So we finally get something from her, and that's really nice and everything. But sadly, they get like attacked by like vampires in the house earlier. And so like Zuma, that's it, Zuma. She's like, I think she was like looking out the window or something like that, and she sees something that was glowing and floating around. I'm all like, what the heck is this? Because they added so much supernatural stuff to this show. And so later on in the episode, we see her possessed, and her eyes are glowing red, and she wants the amulet. She wants the darkness so she can get back to Dracula. So there's like a scuffle and everything, and eventually, like, she gets the amulet. And so, like, everybody's like, oh no, she can't get the amulet, can't open it up because Dracula will have, like, her full essence and everything and blah, 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 blah. And so Ivory had to, like, think really fast and decides to just chop her head off. And she's devastated by that because the thing is like this. When you're bit by a vampire and then you get bit by a Van Helsing, you become immortal after that. You can get shot, you can get blown up, and you will live Highlander style. So you're basically immortal. Unless you get your head chopped off or all your limbs chopped off or your heart taken out, something you can't heal from. So if it's something like the heart or the head that's like removed, you can't heal from that. And so, like, but she took the extreme route of like chopping her head off. She could have shot her, she could have, like, stabbed her and got the amulet back, but she was like thinking impulsively and really quickly. And so she's upset about that. Oh, I forgot to mention, in this season, there's now this orange dust that's floating around the sky. Why? The humans are taking it back to the vampires, trying to regain their planet and stuff. So the orange mist can kill vampires and former vampires. So they have to always keep their mouths covered and stuff. Now, Myra did not try to fight and did not try to get the amulet back because she was terrified. And this pisses off Ivory. Ivory treats Myra so terrible in this episode, calling her a coward and all this other stuff, talking about like you was part of the sisterhood, you know how to fight. Like, what's wrong with you? But see, the thing what's wrong with Myra is that when you're a vampire, the demon takes over. It makes you strong, it makes you brave, and it makes you evil. Once all that is gone, you revert back to however you was. And Myra was a coward before she got turned and everything. And she's very similar to Doc, so she doesn't know how to fight or nothing like that. And Ivory just doesn't seem to like get it, you know what I'm saying? Because she's too angry and stuff. And Violet's trying to like calm Ivory down and all this other crap, but it's not really working. But like at some point, before all this craziness started happening with Zuma, the girls were sitting down and talking about how they got turned. When they do, like, this is when Ivory was getting on to the other girl talking about, you were a warrior, how come you didn't see them coming and blah, 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 how come you didn't fight? Anyways, so at some point in time, Violet looks out the window, sees something with red eyes, and she gets turned. And so when she gets turned, she takes the amulet, because she has it around her neck, and she goes outside with it, trying to give it back to whatever that demonic thing is that wants the amulet so they can get back to Dracula. And so, like, Ivory now realizes what this thing is. It's an ancient, like, spirit demon type thing that Dracula can summon. And so you get turned by it by looking into his red eyes. So other girl and Ivory, they go outside. Ivory has like her eyes closed and like, like she's trying to get to Violet and stuff. And it's pretty difficult for her to fight because she can't see right now. And so like she's just pleading to like Violet to like, close your eyes or fight it or something like that. But Violet can't. So Ivory decides to take her knife and just like lunge it into like, Violet's chest, killing her and stuff. And I'm like, dude, that is like so extreme because she's like the main co-lead and everything. And so the evil thing like goes away and she takes the amulet, and with her eyes closed, she's like down on the ground with Violet, and she has the other girl call out to her so she can hear, so she can find out where they're at because she can't see right now. But of course, Violet is a Van Helsing and she heals from her wounds and stuff. And so Ivory knows that they have to do this type of blood ritual to keep this thing out the house. So you have to like, cut yourself, put like an X on every window and every door. So after later on that confession that the other girl made to that of Ivory, at some point she hears a noise in the chimney. She looks inside the chimney and there is that little demon thingy, whatever thing. And she looks into his eyes and she's possessed. So as Ivory's trying to talk her down, like the little demon thing, it can't really keep hold of like the other girl. So she's constantly fading in and out of like, being possessed. But then she realizes something, that she's just a liability. Like, she's not strong, she's not tough. This thing has a hold of her, and she has like, the amulet and whatever. So what does she do? She takes two swords and she chops off her head to sacrifice herself so that the demon won't take like the amulet and everything. That's pretty freaking hardcore, man. Plus, she's a coward and she's scared of the world living in vampires and stuff. And so, like, this is the part that doesn't make no sense afterwards. And the episode ends in a weird kind of way. Violet realizes that since Dracula was able to summon this thing, that maybe if she sucks in the essence of Dracula, she'll like turn into a partial Dracula and make the little demon thingy go away. So Ivory does not like that plan, but Violet's gonna do whatever she wants because she's the one in charge. And so she sucks in like, the essence, and this just terrifies Ivory till she becomes a coward now. And she's quivering in like the corner. So somehow the little blood on like the doors just don't work no more. And Violet, now Dracula, is letting the demon thing in the house. I don't know what the world she did, but she like talked to it or something like that. And next thing you know, it exploded. And I'm just kind of like, how and everything. Like, that don't make no sense. They just got rid of that thing the quickest way they could. So the ending is very disappointing. And so, like, somehow Violet is able to fight Dracula and put the essence back in the amulet. And so it's kind of like, how exactly? But anyways, they go outside or something like that, and they find like a book. Or maybe they inside the house, and they find a book. Because that's right, they have this book that somebody wrote about Dracula and vampire. So they're reading the book, and Violet realized there's a new page in the book that was never there before. And there's something weird about the amulet that's changed. And she sees a picture of Jack, her sister. And so it states that, like, she was born in the year 2000, but died in the year 1780 or something like that. So they're like, what the world's going on? So then they realize, oh, wait, Jack must still be alive, but she's in the past. And in the little book are some coordinates and everything. So Jack somehow has altered history. Still didn't bring Vanessa back, but altered history to let them know, hey, I'm in the past. I changed the amulet and blah, 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 blah. So they hop in the car and they drive off to the coordinates. So, even though it's a filler episode and the ending was super weak, I did like this episode for the action we got, the bond with like the sisterhoods and everything, and like, the emotional stuff, because other girl literally told Ivory, you killed my real sisters and gave me these fake sisters and like the sisterhood and everything. And like, I don't blame you because that was a demon inside you, but you did terrible things to me and all this other crap. And I also like the emotional side from that of like Ivory learning her backstory. Now, all of these actresses in the show, you've actually seen before on the CW. Pretty much all of them have appeared in Batwoman, Supergirl, and I think one of them appeared in like Legends of Tomorrow, and a couple of them appeared in the 100. So it's people you recognize and stuff. Because I know Ivory and Violet appeared in Batwoman, and the other ones, all of them pretty much have been in like Supergirl, except for the actress who plays like Violet. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.